and a very warm welcome to yet another fascinating edition of the program, CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the achievements and activities of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Miriam Abdurrashid. Coming up, we x-ray the Business Facilitation Act, alias the Omnibus Act, and its relationship with CAMA 2020. Plus, how to register a business name seamlessly online. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.
Another key issue with decentralization. The law requires that we should have an office in every state of Nigeria. Suitably equipped. That's what the language of the law. With centralization, with the electronic system, customers don't have to visit our offices. Customers transact remotely, and they get their results remotely. We don't have boundary now. So if you file your application from Abuja, it may even go to an approving officer in Maiduguri or somewhere in Yanagua. The system distributes to approving officers. You don't even know who processes your application. We have the same standard, the same requirements. So some of the state offices, but we have to maintain them because the law requires that we should maintain. And you have to preserve jobs.
Welcome back. We begin with a watershed moment in the business industry of our beloved country, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Esteemed viewers may recall that on February 14, 2023, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, signed the Business Facilitation Miscellaneous Provision Act, commonly referred to as the Omnibus Act. Many economic analysts have expressed huge optimism about the potentials of the law towards enhancing growth in the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSME sectors of the economy. For the concluding part of our insights on the provision of the Act and its impact on CAMA 2020, let's join Mr. Adeola Tolulope Shonaike, Assistant Director, Registrar General's Office, on our interview segment.
From that, we move on to Section 283.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Now, Section 283 makes provision for disqualification of persons from appointment as directors.
Okay, well, once they have questionable character?
And something like that,
Okay.
there must be something hanging on them,
Okay.
that makes them unfit to be appointed as directors.
Okay.
Now, Section 2...
So if I appoint my friend?
If your friend does not have suffer any disability under the law, why not?
Okay.
If your friend has been convicted
Of some criminal
of dishonesty and all of that, then he cannot be appointed. It's not just criminality, it must border on dishonesty and fraud, in the operations of companies and all of that.
Oh, okay.
Right. Now, Section 288 provides procedure for removing a director.
Okay.
No matter how that director is appointed. Even where a director is appointed for life, because there is that window under the law. You can appoint somebody as a director for life. Even when that person is appointed a director for life, you can still remove him under Section 288. Now, what 288 simply requires is that you must give that person the benefit of fair hearing. You must let him know why he wants to be removed. And you must give him an opportunity to defend himself.
Okay.
Now, the basis for removal or for even the grant for removal may be simply administrative. It may also be things that touch on criminality, on fraud and all of that. So Section 288 is broad.
Okay.
It just says that you can remove a director, right?
didn't give
As long
details.
as you follow this procedure.
Okay.
Now, if you now say that anybody who is removed under Section 288 as a director from one company cannot be appointed the director of another company, what you are saying then is that no matter the reason for your removal, whether it's criminal or not, you cannot be appointed a director in another company.
Oh, okay.
That is overreaching.
Okay.
Because we know that the intent of Section 283 is that somebody with questionable character, somebody who suffers some disability in terms of integrity, should not be appointed.
Okay.
Or somebody with incapacity
Okay.
should not be appointed a director.
Okay.
So what section
83.
Yeah, amendment to that
88,
thing.
yeah.
So is to say that where that person's removal 288, where such removal was on the ground of fraud, dishonesty, and unethical conduct.
Conduct, yes.
So these are things that will affect your integrity.
Then 307 is also talking about a person can be a director in 5 public companies.
Yes,
So it's
307.
still on nomination, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
Yeah.
as 307 introduced the limitation to the number of public companies that a person can act as a director. Before CAMA 2020, it did not matter whether you were a director in 10 public companies. We had people who were directors in many companies. You hear their names here, you hear their names here.
Is that not part of hustling?
Yeah. But again, I mean, like I said before, public companies are public interest entities. You can do your hustles, right? But the system must also be mindful, that your hustles do not affect other people's investments.
Okay.
Right?
But if my hustle is bringing in more money or more investment?
Yeah, but there's also a limit to human capacity. How many companies do you want to sit on at the same time and be effective?
And productive at the same time.
Yes. And again, remember that what the section does is to limit the number of directorship in public companies. It does not limit for private companies. So these same persons can sit as directors of 10 private companies in addition to these public companies.
Okay.
So the question there will be, how effective can you be sitting on all these boards?
Why is there no limitation for private companies?
Because private companies are not seen to be that complex.
Oh, okay.
In running, and because of their sizes. Again, you may argue that some private companies are actually big in operations. I mean, increasingly, we're having such private companies. Because if you notice the trend now, most public companies, quite a number of them, particularly the financial and the banking industry, are changing their form to private companies.
Yes.
To avoid these regulations and all of that. They believe that the extent of regulation, that there's too much regulation, there's too blah, blah, blah. Because for public companies, yes, the reporting requirements are higher. So a lot of them, what they are doing is they are promoting holding companies as public limited companies, PLCs. Those banks that are actually carrying on, the companies that are carrying on the banking business are private companies. Now imagine that you are a director in about 5 private companies that are, banking companies that are private. You are back to that same challenge as when they were public. Because nothing has changed in their operations. What has just changed is their form, in their name. So what the amendment here has done is to consolidate both subsection 2 and 3. Subsection 2 originally said no person shall be a director in more than 5 public companies. Then subsection 3 now says that if you have been such before CAMA 2020, you should reduce your membership
to 5
within a particular space of time. So what this has now done is to consolidate those 2 provisions and create a new subsection 3. However, even though it really does not, there's no harm, it's just a matter of elegance. It forgot to mention that the old subsection 2 is deleted.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Okay. So you find that what you have now, you have subsection 2 that says you cannot be a director in more than 5 companies. Then you have a subsection 3 again that says that you cannot be a director in more than 5 companies. And if you are already so, you must reduce it within 2 years, the time frame and all of that. Yeah, that is what section 307 that's what the amendment to 307 by BFA has achieved.
Okay.
Then you have section 378. Which
That's,
talks, yes,
regarding
which
the
is
financial
about
statement
yes,
of a
yes,
company.
yes. Under 1990, what you now know as the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria was known as the Nigeria Accounting Standards Board, NASB,
Okay.
right? And it was just an administrative department under the ministry, but within the purview of CAMA. So it did not really enjoy that autonomy. So what CAMA 1990 had provided is that accounting report financial statements must be in the form prescribed by NASB from time to time. However, that it's consistent with what we had in the schedule. There was that standard format scheduled to the act then. But CAMA 2020, now Financial Reporting Council has assumed that role. And from time to time, they revise accounting standards, which companies must adopt when they are reporting financially. So what the Act did was to still say by accounting standards prescribed by NASB from Financial Reporting Council from time to time, or as annexed as a schedule to the Act. But that again, you want to wonder, why do you, if it can be changed from time to time, why do you want to schedule it to the Act? Why don't you just leave it with what is prescribed by the Financial Reporting Council from time to time? That is what the BFA did. Then you move on to Section 394. I think there are just about 4 more sections that the BFA touched on.
The one that has to do with the company registration.
Yes, in CAMA. So you have Section 394, which
the company
defines who a small company is, or what a small company is. If you look at Section 394 as it is now in the Act, there is a lot of inelegance. There's too much. You crack your brain a lot to understand what it's saying. About which the previous year or in the succeeding year and all of that preceding year and all. So what this Act did was to just simplify the definition.
Oh, okay.
Simplify it, remove all the inelegance, and tell
said,
you that
a small company in relation to a subsequent financial year.
Yes, if the condition qualifying it as a small company are met in the year and the preceding financial year. So what it says is that for you to qualify as a small company, because that status, right, of small company is not permanent, right? This year you can be a small company. In 2 years' time, you are not a small company, right? So, small companies, there are conditions for determining them. The first of them that they cannot be public companies, they must be private companies. For you to qualify as a small company, it must be a private company. You must not have a foreigner participating as a member. You must not have any government agency or nominee of the agency or participating as a member. Your turnover for the year
will be below 25 million.
And the preceding year must not exceed 25 million. It can be 25 million, but it must not go more than 25 million. Your net asset must not exceed 12.5 million. Right? And then if you are a company that is limited, that has shares, your directors, between themselves, must own more than 50%, at least 51% of the shares. All these conditions are cumulative. If you fail in one, then you are no longer a small company. Now, what is saying that for the purpose of reporting and of the Act, for you to say you are a small company in 2023, you must also have been a small company in 2022.
Oh, okay.
So there's a period, there's a period that they must know that, your average and all of that, you have continued like this for, So that explanation is not so, it's there in the law. But it's so, the way it's drafted is so wieldy, that it will take a lot to first fragment them for understanding and all of that. So what the Act has done, BFA has done, is just simplify them so that any person can understand.
There'll be no confusion.
And then you have Section 572. 571 provides grounds for the courts to wind up a company.
Which we discussed. I think we discussed extensively on it in
yes,
our last episode.
Yes. Now, one of the grounds would be where a company is unable to pay its debt. So 572 now went on to explain what qualifies as inability to pay debt. And it says that where a company is unable to pay the sum less 200,000 or less that it owes anybody upon demand, then that's a signal that something is wrong
somewhere.
It's like a red flag that something is wrong. Why can't you? All you owe me is just 200,000, and I'm asking you can't pay. That means you are going insolvent. You are going yes. But now, by prescribing an amount, what this means is that it will be difficult to reflect economic realities as they occur. Right? What is 200,000 today may not be 200,000 tomorrow by value. What 200,000 commands today certainly will not be what it commands in 2024. So the way around it is what the BFA has just identified, right? Don't prescribe the figure. Leave it to regulation, so that to reflect the currency of economic realities from time to time. By regulation, we can determine the amount. Okay. Now, before we reviewed that section in CAMA 2020, there was a similar section in 1990. Now, since 1990 that the law was made, I think the Act then placed it at 200 naira.
Oh. Yeah.
Now, imagine that somebody explored that provision to petition for the winding up of the company because he could not pay 200 naira. Of course, I think that is even grave.
It won't even make sense. Of course,
of course, it's grave too. I mean, that you can't pay 200 naira. Why would you be able to pay 200 naira? So, but the way it is now, it's open. We can, from time to time, regulate it.
Okay.
And fix the amount at any point.
Okay.
And then you have section 658. That one was just to correct an omission.
Period of years to period of 2 years.
Yes.
So this gives you a time frame, an
exact
time frame.
In the Act now, if you look at 572, 658, there was that omission of 2. Just said period of years, right? It didn't put 2. So it's just to insert that 2.
Okay.
For clarity.
Okay.
Right. Now, the last one was section 868.
Yes.
Now, section 868 defines an insolvency practitioner as either a lawyer or a chartered accountant. No more.
Okay. So a journalist cannot.
Now, it negates an earlier provision. That's section 705. Right? Which allows members of other recognized professional bodies to act and be authorized to act as insolvency practitioners, right? You have members of the BRIPAN, you call it the Business Rescue and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria, BRIPAN. You have the NBA, Nigerian Bar Association. You have ANAN, Association of Nigeria National Accountants of Nigeria. You have ICANN, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. You have ICSAN, Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. These 5 bodies, right, they are members satisfying other conditions that are prescribed in the law.
Okay. Can
be authorized to act as insolvency practitioners.
Okay.
And then you now go to a later provision and says that, and then you now say that legal insolvency practitioners will only be lawyers and accountants, chartered accountants.
Okay.
So you see that there is some inconsistency there. So what the law did was to remove, what BFA did was to remove that definition, 868, that restricts it to lawyers and accountants, contrary to what 705 intends.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And you can, even in 705, when you come to 706, you find that the commission even has the power to designate some other professional bodies.
From time to time?
Yes.
Okay.
As a professional body whose members may act as insolvency practitioners. Of course, the law did make provisions for conditions to also be fulfilled, before the commission can say, okay, members of this profession, okay, you can also apply and we'll authorize you to act as insolvency practitioners.
Right. How often will the BFA be amended?
Well, we don't know, but what we know is that it will be very, very good if it's something that, because it's an omnibus and overarching legislation. What it does is to reduce the cost of having to review relevant legislations. Imagine that I told you this act touched on 21, about 21 legislations. Now imagine that those 21 legislations had to go to the National Assembly one by one. CAC will take its own CAMA. FRS will take the stamp duties.
Export promotion
will take its own like that. SEC will take the Investment Securities Act, and all of that. NIPC2 will take its own. Imagine the challenge of having all those 21 legislations passed, in a very short time. Imagine the cost. Imagine the resources you deploy to it, So, if this as an omnibus window, an overarching window process, can be done from time to time, once gaps are identified in the relevant laws, it will be very, very helpful. So it is hoped, we are hoping, and what I've also been hearing is that it is desired
Okay.
that this should be done maybe every 2 or 3 years.
What you're hearing or what you know?
We don't know that yet.
Okay.
Well, that's what we want, and that's what we hear is desirable too.
Okay.
For every 2 or 3 years, because much as the BFA has touched on CAMA extensively and some other legislations, there are still some areas in other legislations, and even CAMA itself, that would need a second look at, that you need to review.
Okay. As we wind up, is it going to be simplified as we go on, so that it becomes more easier that a lawyer, a non-lawyer, a journalist like me, or a layman on the street can easily, comprehend?
I mean, the language is it's.
The language is still.
Well, this is legal language, but again,
still legalized here.
But it's still easier.
Okay.
Because
I'm looking at further simplification.
Yes, because the idea is communication. Everything you issue, everything you write, the intention is for somebody else to see it, right, and get the message.
Okay.
So even as lawyers and draftsmen, even the lawmakers, they understand that if you do all the big grammars and all of that, at the end of the day, the person does not understand. That is communication failure, right? The essence of communicating is for the other person to understand what you're trying to say, and be able to do what you're trying to tell him. Now, if that person does not understand what you're saying, he cannot do
what you want.
So you find that you will not get desired action. You always be having a wrong thing, and they're like, this thing is there now, why are people not doing it? But they don't understand that. Yeah, so I expect that from time to time, yes,
the language will be
simpler. Will be simpler, because at the end of the day, we want you to understand it.
Okay, yes. I'm happy we've been able to, touch all the sections that, concern CAMA 2020. And so we look forward to the amendment, which comes maybe in 2-3 years, you said?
Maybe.
Or earlier than that?
Or earlier.
All right.
Thank you,
Mr. Tolope Adiola. Thank you so much for your time, as always.
All
right.
Great insight there from Tolulope. Let's move on to real-time registration. Are you a small business owner desirous of registering a business name and wondering how to go about it? Please come with us as we show you how to do just that seamlessly online.
Business name registration. Now that we have reserved the name, let's now proceed to register the business. Step 1. On your dashboard, click on the Reserve panel. This would bring up your approval history. Step 2. Click on the Start Registration button beside your approved name. Step 3. Under Business Details, enter your business details and click on Save and Continue. Step 4. Under Particulars of Proprietors, enter the particulars of each proprietor and click on Add Particulars of Proprietor button, then click on Save and Continue. Step 5. Under Nature of Business, enter the nature of business and describe the business by filling in the Other Nature of Business description box and click Add Nature of Business button to add, then click the Save and Continue button to proceed. Ensure you fill in all fields marked with a red asterisk. Step 6. Under Document Upload, scan the means of identification you chose in Step 4 and upload it by clicking the Upload button. Upload the scanned versions of your signature and passport photograph. Click on Save and Continue to preview your entries. Step 7. When you have verified your entries, click on Proceed to Payment to pay for your registration. Remember to remain on the remitter page after you have received a confirmation of payment. You will be automatically redirected to your dashboard where you can download your receipt. When your registration has been approved, your certificate will be automatically generated on your registered panel where you can download and print it.
Wow, isn't that easy? So what are you waiting for? Hurry now to pre.cac.gov.ng to register your business. And that does it for this week's edition of the program, CAC Weekly. We hope you enjoyed watching. For comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helpline. On Twitter, it is CAC Nigeria 1. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. Our website is www.cac.gov.ng, and our helpline 070 806 29000. Do join us next week for another interesting edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Miriam Abdurrashid, and the whole team here, it's bye for now.